You know, every single human life is shaped by this invisible force. It's the thing that wakes people up long before sunrise. It keeps them working way past the point of exhaustion. It drives our ambition, it fuels our romances, it inspires art, and it literally pushes entire civilizations forward. It's responsible for some of humanity's absolute greatest achievements, but at the exact same time, some of our deepest suffering. In this explainer, we're going to examine that invisible force. We're talking about desire. Now, at first glance, desire seems pretty straightforward, right? We want money, love, success, recognition. But beneath every single visible goal you have, there is this psychological engine that has been shaping human behavior for thousands of years. And honestly, the strangest part of it all is this.
Think about how incredibly quickly our greatest achievements just fade into everyday reality. The absolute second people get what they want, the feeling almost never lasts. That dream job you spent literally years working toward, suddenly it just becomes your job. The luxury car you had to have completely loses its excitement the moment it actually sits in your driveway. Even that thrilling, passionate new relationship inevitably settles into familiarity. The massive achievement that once felt like it would change your life forever just slowly becomes another normal part of your everyday routine. And then, almost like clockwork, a brand new desire emerges. The pursuit just starts all over again. Now, what you really need to understand here is that this fading thrill, it isn't a sign that you're ungrateful. Not at all. It's actually a universal psychological symptom. And it points to one of the most fundamental, slightly unsettling truths about human nature. The human mind was quite literally never designed for lasting satisfaction. It was designed for movement. It was designed for the pursuit, for wanting. We are biologically wired for constant movement, and once you realize that, it kind of changes how you see everything.
Okay, let's dive into this. Part 1. The paradox of arrival.
I want you to reflect for a second. Think about a time when you spent months waiting for something. Maybe it was a huge promotion at work, getting into the right university, or finally taking that dream vacation. For weeks, your brain was just completely consumed by anticipation. You thought about it all the time. You pictured exactly how amazing your life would be once it finally happened. The future felt emotionally brighter than the present. But then, the moment actually arrived. And sure, for a short time, excitement flooded your mind. You felt relief, you felt validation. But almost immediately, that intense emotional high started fading. The extraordinary just became ordinary. And you were probably left wondering, did I hype this up too much? Why exactly does that happen to us?
Well, it happens because human beings are usually far more attached to the pursuit itself than the actual possession. And this creates one of psychology's most fascinating paradoxes. People frequently enjoy wanting something way more than they enjoy actually having it. The destination changes, right? People without money desire wealth. Wealthy people desire status. Famous people desire influence. Influential people desire a legacy. But the psychological mechanism underneath it all remains completely identical.
Part 2. Wired for the pursuit.
To understand why we operate like this, we have to look straight at our biology. There's this massive societal misunderstanding about how the brain actually works. We hear the word dopamine and we instantly think, oh, pleasure. We think about the reward. But modern neuroscience shows us something entirely different and, frankly, super surprising. Our brain's reward systems are not primarily designed to maximize our happiness. They're designed to maximize our motivation. Dopamine isn't the chemical of arrival. It is the chemical of anticipation. It's the language of possibility. It is the language of maybe. And this perfectly explains why anticipation feels so incredibly powerful in our everyday lives. Think about the butterflies before a first date, the hours right before opening a package you've been waiting for, the days leading up to a vacation. Your brain becomes highly energized by uncertainty and the mere potential of a reward. In so many cases, the pursuit generates a much stronger emotional intensity than the actual reward itself. This is exactly why achieving our goals can feel so strangely anticlimactic. We expect the arrival to give us permanent fulfillment, but our brains were simply never optimized for arrival.
Our brains evolved for continued searching, for continued wanting. From an evolutionary standpoint, endless desire was an incredibly useful survival tool. Think about it. The hunter who caught a meal and became permanently satisfied would just stop hunting. The explorer who stopped wanting would stop exploring. This restless dissatisfaction kept our ancestors moving, competing, adapting, and ultimately surviving.
Which brings us to part 3, the modern craving machine. In modern society, this ancient biological wiring creates a rather unsettling challenge for us. For basically all of human history, desire was limited by your immediate reality.
You compared yourself to your neighbors, your family, the people in your local town. But today, comparison is totally global. A quick 5-minute scroll on social media in the morning instantly exposes you to thousands of lives that all appear richer, happier, more attractive, and far more successful than your own. It transforms desire from an occasional feeling into a 24/7 experience. Every single scroll presents a new standard, another version of life that just seems better. So your mind rarely gets to stay focused on what you already have. Your attention is constantly being hijacked and shifted toward what is missing.
Modern culture often tries to rebrand this endless desire as progress. But the reality is that entire industries now depend completely on maintaining your dissatisfaction. Advertising rarely even bothers selling products anymore. It sells imagined identities. A luxury watch becomes a symbol of status. A certain car becomes a measure of respect. A specific phone becomes your ticket to belonging. The brand becomes your self-worth. The physical product is almost secondary now. The emotional promise is what actually matters. These industries are selling us stories about who we might finally become if we just buy one more thing.
Part 4. Chasing the future self. So, the crucial point here is this. The things we think we desire are rarely just objects. They're proxies. Beneath every visible target you crave, there is a hidden, emotionally magnetic version of your future self. Someone doesn't simply want money. They want what money represents to them, like freedom, security, or feeling important. Someone doesn't simply want fame. They want visibility and validation. Someone doesn't just want love. They want deep connection and emotional certainty. You are almost never chasing physical objects. You are chasing versions of yourself. We build our whole lives around reaching that identity. But even after you make the transformation, the feeling still remains incomplete. And that is because of a clinical concept known as hedonic adaptation. This is our extraordinary psychological ability to normalize almost absolutely anything. Success just becomes normal. Luxury becomes normal. Even massive life experiences that once seemed entirely unimaginable to you eventually just become part of your routine. This mechanism completely resets our baseline. Your mind continuously adjusts your expectations upward. What once felt like a miracle becomes the new baseline. And your internal machinery just never stops searching. It simply finds new targets, new dreams, new reasons to keep you moving. Finally, Part 5, the endless horizon. All of this brings us face to face with a really unavoidable paradox. It's a heavy question, honestly. If desire is the exact thing creating our permanent psychological tension and our dissatisfaction, why not just try to eliminate it altogether? What would a truly satisfied, desireless mind even look like? Well, the profound contradiction is that without desire, almost everything we value about human life disappears. A world without desire means a world with no ambition, no innovation, no art, no exploration, no progress. Desire is what built our cities. It created our incredible technology. It launched scientific discoveries, and it has inspired countless acts of human courage. The exact same force that causes all our internal suffering is the force that built our world. Humanity basically exists entirely within this contradiction. We suffer because we want, and yet we grow because we want. And so, the horizon of what we want continuously shifts, staying just slightly out of our reach. We chase one milestone, fully believing it will finally, permanently bring us freedom. But that promise always remains just one step ahead. We chase the next success, the next relationship, the next big achievement, convinced that this time it will bring us ultimate validation. But the destination is rarely the actual ending. It's usually just another beginning, another horizon, another pursuit. Because humans aren't just creatures that possess things. We are fundamentally creatures that imagine and hope for a better future. Deep beneath every single ambition, beneath every craving, lives this quiet, persistent belief that something better exists just up ahead. It's the inescapable gravitational pull of the future, the endless, deeply human search for connection. We all tell ourselves this story that life will finally feel complete once a specific destination is reached. But history, modern psychology, and I'm sure your own personal experience all point to something vastly different. This psychological tension cannot be solved. It can only be understood. And perhaps the most unsettling realization of all is this. The very moment one desire is fulfilled, the next one may already be waiting. So really, the question isn't how to finally get everything you want. The real question is, who are you allowing to choose your next pursuit?